You're not unemployed because you're not intelligent. You're unemployed because you keep sitting interviews you could have easily passed. If you're tired of getting ghosted after interviews, or you really want to make it to the second stage or the final stage of your interviews, then this video is definitely for you. Hi everyone, my name is Faith Adesayo and I help students and recent graduates position themselves for career success. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 mistakes why people fail interviews, and I'm sure that by the end of this video, you'll be well equipped to ace your next interview. So you know what I've noticed? A lot of people actually take courses, they update their LinkedIn, they prepare their CVs, prepare their cover letters, submit this amazing application. But when it comes to preparing for the interview and making sure they are ready, they leave things to heart. They go and they speak from their hearts. While this is very amazing and inspirational, it's not answering the questions that the interviewer wants to get out of it. I remember 2019, I was applying for a conference and I went into that interview telling the interviewer how I wanted to change the world, how I was the next president of Nigeria, and inspirational things. Well, the guess is as good as mine. I did not get that conference or fellowship. Why? Because there are certain steps you need to take to ace interviews that I just didn't take for that particular one. So here are 5 common mistakes people make when they go on interviews. The first is the most popular question: tell me about yourself. Now, when people hear this question, some of them are thrown aback, and it's actually quite interesting you're thrown aback, because if you've done your research well, if you've watched videos like this, if you've watched other videos on YouTube, you know that most interviews start with the first question: tell me about yourself. Now, some of them might have actually heard of tell me about yourself, but then what do they answer? They tell them about they tell the interviewers about their family, they're like the first child of 5 children, they come from this state, and they love baking banana bread, and they love doing these things that are absolutely unrelated to the job you're applying for, the position you're applying for, the context in which you're currently having that interview. That's like one mistake. A good step-by-step procedure to answer the questions: first of all, you start with your name. So imagine I'm in an interview. Tell me about yourself. My name is Faith Adesayo. I'm a graduate of Covenant University, or whatever university you graduated from. I'm a graduate of economics. You graduated with a first class or a second class upper. You could even say I'm a first class graduate of economics from Covenant University. I'm a second class graduate of economics from Covenant University. Depending on the organization you're applying for, if I was applying for a professional service organization like an accounting firm, an auditing firm, etc., I would even say I'm a chartered accountant, or I'm currently writing my professional exams in chartered account. You need to structure the conversation in a way where you are literally telling yourself to the interviewer that I have all it takes to get this job done. So speaking of structure in practical terms, a good way to answer the tell me about yourself question is, first of all, start with your name. My name is Faith Adesayo Luani. Then go ahead to your degree. I'm a first class graduate of economics from Covenant University. That's the second point. The third point you want to emphasize is any professional qualification, certificate, skills that kind of better position you for that job. It could be I am a chartered accountant. I'm currently qualified as a chartered accountant in Nigeria. And then the last thing you want to put is anything that directly shows that you have experience doing that job before. The second mistake I see people making is not matching their skills with the job they're currently applying for. So you see a job that is all about data analysis. You apply for a data analysis role or position in any organization, and then they ask, okay, what skills do you have that can help match this job? And then you start talking about I love baking, I love event planning, I can sing. While all of these things are good and probably will be very nice in a talent audition, right? You're applying for a data analysis role, so you need to highlight skills like, okay, I'm good with Excel, my Microsoft Excel skills is good, I have skills with Python or SAP or things like that basically have to do with analyzing a lot of data. So please emphasize the skills that relate to the job you're applying for. Good example, let's say you're applying for an accounting role. What exactly does an accountant do? Number one, an accountant has to be very comfortable with numbers. An accountant has to know how to use the accounting software, accounting, whatever it is that they use in that organization. Number 3, an accountant preferably should have your ICANN, CFA, SSA, whatever it is that shows that you are a qualified chartered accountant, right? So now, if I was to answer the question of, okay, what skills do I have to get this accounting role? It would be things around, I have very good mathematical analytical skills. This is shown with me getting A's in all my mathematics courses. as seen in my transcript. 2 is I have a certificate from Microsoft that shows I'm like a professional with Microsoft Excel. And 3 is I have continuously like improved on this analytical skills by getting my CFA qualification. Full stop. This just is very like straight to the point, 3 points, but then you've clearly shown to your interviewer that I have all the skills required to get this or to be the best in my accounting role. Now, I'm sure some of you might be thinking, okay, but I don't have all the skills. My mantra is work experience doesn't have to be paid experience. I made a video, I'll try to link it on the screen. Although it was tailored to CB writing, I feel like some of the examples I gave in that video can help inspire you on how to tailor the experiences you have to fit with whichever job you're applying for. So don't forget to check out the video. I'll try to link it on the screen. So third mistake I see most people make is the lack of structure in the answers they give. And so you're asked the question of, tell me about the time when you've led an organization before. Then you go ahead to say, oh, I'm the first one of my family. I was one like take my brothers and my siblings to school. You just go ahead to ramble. At the end of the day, maybe the interviewer can get 1 or 2 things like, okay, this person has actually led his or her siblings before. But there's no clear story in which you answer that question, which is a very faulty one. A good way to answer is the popular STAR framework: situation, task, action, and result. Situation is basically saying what exactly is the context in which you're basically answering the question. What exactly happened there? The task is what was your responsibility? Action is what did you do? And R is result. What exactly came out of your action? So a good example to illustrate the STAR framework is answering the question. So tell us when you've led a team before. Situation is, I'm very passionate about leadership, and so I showed this by volunteering to be the class representative in my organization from my 100 to my 400 level. That situation, you set the context. Task. In my role as a class representative, one thing I was responsible for was organizing my colleagues or my classmates into different teams for their projects, assignments, etc. Action. In doing this, I ensured that there was clear logic to the way I structured or organized my classmates into teams. One thing I did was ensuring that the people that were very good in the subject, I paired them with people that were not as good to ensure there was clear strength and people could leverage each other's strength. I also looked at other things that, my colleagues or my classmates were good at. Some people were quite good with presentation, while some other people were good with, just preparing the PowerPoint. I ensured that a team was very balanced in terms of strength and areas for improvement for my classmates. What result came out of it now, the R, is this ensured, or the result of just taking a very logical and balanced approach to structuring, was that the average performance for each project or assignment increased by 50%. Now, the project teams were performing much more because you didn't have a concentration of all the good people in one team. And I got good accolades from both the lecturers and my classmates in the way I implemented this assignment. Right? This clearly shows that, number one, your role as a class representative just went beyond, just organizing test assignments. It showed that you took into account the strengths and the areas for improvement for other people into delivering your responsibility. At the end of the day, lecturer is happy, classmate is happy, class representative is happy. I hope that makes sense. Now, the 4th mistake I've seen people make is weak body language, where you see people going to interviews and they're not just looking professional, for lack of a better word. See them going with, some of them are chewing gums, or they're behaving like this, or you just see them like slouching, like, I'm not sure, I don't know, and they just behave like they're having conversations with their friends or their parents. In a formal interview, this is absolutely wrong. In a formal interview, you should come looking clean. You don't need to always wear a suit, depending on, maybe it's a physical interview, you want to wear a suit. Also depending on the organization you're interviewing for. Most firms, they don't actually need you to be formal, corporate, always at that point. They just need you to be a bit like business casuals, maybe a shirt with jeans, and then just looking neat and composed. Or you could wear a suit, but you don't need to always have your tie. One thing is, you need to make sure you are very formal. Your body language is portraying confidence. The body language is portraying, I'm ready and prepared for this job. If you go and you're using filler words, looking unkept, you're chewing gum, you're just doing things that doesn't make you look professional, it signals the interviewer that maybe you're not interested in this job as much as it looks like. Now, the 5th and the final mistake I've seen people make that, just cut them off in the first or second stage of their interview is not asking questions. Now, I see it from two lenses. Number one is not asking questions from people that work in that organization today. I remember prepping someone for a case interview, and just by having a conversation with that person, the person was able to understand what's priorities for the company, what's priorities for staff, how exactly the company treats the organization or the staff. Now, this person can then make an informed question during the interview. Imagine if you know that, oh, things around climate change, sustainability, things around finance, AI tech is important to your organization, right? When you then go into the interview, you can ask questions around those topics that is important to the organization. It shows that you have done a lot of research. And so people go into interview making two mistakes. Number one, not doing enough research and asking questions from people that currently work within the organization. And then during the interview, not asking questions from the interviewer. And so the interviewer would ask them any other questions. They're like, oh no, I'm good. It shows that you've not done your research. So please, before you go into any interview, make sure you're speaking with people that work the organizations you want to come into. And then number two is you need to be better prepared and ask intelligent questions during the interview. The final bonus point I would share is your personal branding matters. What exactly does this mean? It means that the internet doesn't hide and everywhere is connected. Everywhere is linked. If you desire to, work in an organization that really takes into account like the presence of their employees, their professional presence, what they put online, how the organization is portrayed, you want to make sure that your current social media accounts, your current online presence accounts, follows the line of the organization you're applying to. For example, you cannot be applying to be a pastor and then your social media accounts, you're doing what a pastor wouldn't do. Like there's a bit of misconnect there, right? And so think of it, what roles are you applying for? Are you applying to be an educator? Then maybe on your social media account as well, you want to show yourself like teaching, you want to show yourself doing those things that you want to apply for, you were applying to. It just shows that there is a sync between what you want to do and what you currently do. It amplifies your presence. I think that's happened. So please make sure that your personal branding online, the way you present, the way you position yourself online, is not conflicting with the role or the position you're applying for. So I know I've said a lot, but listen, your dream job is not far from you. You don't need to be perfect. All you need to do is make sure you're preparing adequately, you're accessing the right type of information you need at every point in time, both for your CVs, your cover letters, your interviews, and then this positions you better to your interviewer. So one thing I know is early career professionals, recent graduates following. One thing I do is I send out a newsletter weekly that has, like, just from my experience, proven career tips, strategies on how to land your dream job and how to even perform well in this dream job. If this sounds like something you're interested in, definitely click in the description box and sign up for the newsletter. It's completely free. Now, I know this video will have helped you in some way, shape or form to better prepare for your interview. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, share it with your classmates, share it with any other person you believe is preparing for the interview. And if you would like to ask me any question, leave it in the comment section. I will be sure to answer. See you in the next video. Bye.